Today's sponsor is Loot Crate. For less than $20 a month, Loot Crate gives the geek in you a special treat every month. Loot Crate's a subscription box service worth $40 worth of geek, gamer, and pop culture gear, collectibles, apparel, comics, etc. delivered to your mailbox every month. This month, they're bringing you a fight for the ages. Suit up, choose your allies, and enter the arena for combat. They're ready to stand their ground this month with exclusive items from Blizzard, Fallout 4, Capcom, sponsor-worthy loot from the Hunger Games, as well as a few more items that will help the winners emerge victorious. You have until the 19th at 9 p.m. Pacific to subscribe and receive that month's crate, and when the cutoff happens, that's it. It's over. So go to lootcrate.com/KFGames and enter code KFGames to save $3 on your new subscription today. Last topic of the day, as always, brought to you by the Kind of Funny forums. Go to kindoffunny.com/forums. Leave a topic for the show, and we'll read it. Just like we're doing right now with C.R. Stern. Hey, Tim, Colin, and Greg. Long time, first time. Colin frequently talks about how his favorite NES series, Mega Man, all feature perfect gameplay. Which games have near perfect gameplay in your eyes? Are there modern games that approach NES pinnacle gameplay in your eyes as well? The only thing that jumps in my mind of perfect is Mario. The 2D Marios.
Sure.
Specifically the world previous.
Anything that in the current world that approaches that?
Like,
You're talking about anything current games or any modern-y games.
Well, just going back to any games at all that have perfect gameplay, I say Mario 1, Mario 3, Mario World.
Mario World, yeah.
I mean, 2's great too, but like I think that 1, 3, and World stand on their own. Besides that, I don't know if there is anything that I'm like, this feels utterly perfect to me.
Yeah.
Especially when you get more modern. I definitely can't think of any off the top of my head.
The name that jumped to mind because it's recent and it's a complicated question, right? Of is anything ever perfect kind of thing, but like a near perfect gameplay loop of Metal Gear, Phantom Pain. The fact that, like, don't get me wrong, like you can get frustrated and not know what you're doing, but the way all the systems work together, like we always talk about, right? And the GMP, and I want to build this, and I want to play that. You know what I mean? The fact of like, what does perfect gameplay mean? I don't know, but it's the perfect gameplay in the way that I want to keep playing it over and over and over again. There's always something to do. There's always something.
Well, that's a loop, I think.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm driving. Yeah, that's what the gameplay loop.
In terms of gameplay, I mean, it's games that have rules that are predictable, and I think very deeply about gameplay, like gameplay, playing the game, the act of playing the game, which I think is lost on a lot of people today, and is forgiven by a lot of people. It's the reason why I think Call of Duty is so good, because it's good gameplay. Like the game plays very, very well. Series that come to mind, Mario I think is a perfect example. I think even Castlevania 1, 2, and 3 have near perfect gameplay, even though the games are stiff and heavy. That is the idea. So they're unforgiving. The rules are consistent, and you either learn how to play it or you don't. And some people don't like the more clumsy feel of it compared to, say, Mega Man, which is fast. But I really love the stiff is used as a bad word, and it should, I think, usually be used in that way when you're talking about gameplay. But the heaviness of the game, it feels like a Castlevania game. That's the way Castlevania feels. And then it really changed quite a bit with a game like Symphony of the Night, which had fast gameplay but still fluid and perfect gameplay. Ninja Gaiden 1, 2, and 3 are up there with Mega Man to me in terms of gameplay. Those games are fast. They don't plot at all, jumping on walls and just running. Like think about it, people out there played the original Ninja Gaiden, like that first stage when you're running to the bar. It's just perfect. Like it's you're just running, slice, jump. Like it's, I don't know. Those games are really, really special in that regard. Modern games don't really nail gameplay the way they used to. I mean, that's just the nature of the way games are made now. So
what's funny about what you're saying is all those games are 2D platformers. Mm-hmm. And like what I was talking about as well is 2D platformers. Like is every other genre, and like once you get to 3D, is it just too complicated to have that perfect?
No, because I talked about Call of Duty, which I think is just in terms of shooters like unrivaled in the way it plays, and so that's the bar for whether it can get any better than that. I don't know. I don't make shooters, but that it can be done in other genres and other modes and other ways of looking at games. But I think that it works in 2D so well because there's little else to rely on in those games to satiate the gamer, which is why I think those games are so special and why that genre is so special. And side scrollers will never disappear because they just really do benefit the person that wants gameplay above all else. And gameplay is absolutely king. So That's why, and I've beaten the horse dead, and why I'm so excited about Matterfall and Alien Nation from Housemarque is because they make perfect gameplay games. Like they do twin stick shooters, and they are games you play and master and get better at. So a game like Resogun or Dead Nation even. These are, Dead Nation's not only a game that is great to play, but also has what Greg was talking about, which was a gameplay loop, which Resogun also has, which is why Housemarque's one of the great developers, because they really understand gameplay, and that is a lost art. There's a lot of excuses made for a lot of games I like, man, this game's pretty, the story's great, look at these characters, look at the environments, but the gameplay. That's what I always talk about with Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed would be a 10. And I'm not talking about the new one. I've not played Syndicate. I've not played Black Flag or any of these games in the last 3 years. But I'm talking about my experience with Assassin's Creed 2 and 3 specifically. If Assassin's Creed 3 played the way it looked, that would be maybe one of the best games of all time. You know what I mean? But it just doesn't. It's like, man, this is a really great environment. Look at these environments. These people look so real, and the story's interesting, and the voice acting, it's so immersive. And then you move around, and it's like, oh. They didn't nail what matters most, which is playing the fucking game. And it's not to say every game needs to be. We were talking about 3/4 Home, which is a game. You might not even call it a game, and I don't. Maybe you shouldn't call it a video game. I don't know. It's a choose your own adventure game. You make choices. Experience. Yeah. So there's no gameplay in it at all, but it's great. And Gone Home, I really loved as well. And that's like what people call a walking simulator, just like everybody's gone to the Rapture or the Vanishing of Ethan Carter. So it doesn't mean that games have to have gameplay. It means that gameplay is usually the nugget of what makes a game worthwhile. And so we go back to games that had no excuses because that's all they had. Yeah, they didn't have.
I want to give a shout out to Tetris.
Dude, you know what game that came to mind first, straight up after that you mentioned Mega Man, was Arkanoid. Where like Arkanoid's fucking perfect. Arkanoid is in my mind a 10. Like, it's just a brick breaking game, but it's a really good one. It's not the first brick breaking game. It's just really good at what it does, and it does this one thing, and it's just addictive as fuck. Holy shit, that game's addictive. So the very simple things like River Raid is one of my favorite Atari games. That game is very simple, but the gameplay's fun. Kung Fu on NES is just 5 levels over and over again, but it's awesome. So, and it's not because, wow, look at Mr. X is such a compelling fucking enemy, or there's like 4 different enemy types in the game. It's not anything. It's just like, it's fun to play, and they didn't have excuses back then. They didn't have anything else to hide what made the game fun. Look at The Order. We talk about that game a lot. The Order is gorgeous. I don't know if there's like any game on PS4, or very few games on PS4 that look better than that game, but it's just a generic cover-based third-person shooter at the end of the day. And that's what turned people off to it. It wasn't the way the game looked or the way the game sounded or the story. It was the way the game played. So, man, gameplay is... We mustn't lose sight of the fact that gameplay is just very, very important. And can modern games nail it? Yes. And do they? Yeah. But, fuck, look at the games we love, like Fallout 3.
VATS is there because the game sucks at gameplay.
Yeah, like VATS is an excuse for not being
really
able to...
poor first-person shooter controls.
Yeah. And we let it go because everything else around it's so good. But is the gameplay good in Fallout 3? Like...
Gameplay mechanics are really good. Yeah. The RPG mechanics are awesome. The story.
Well, I was gonna say the RPG, like the tangential things are good. I don't think the mechanics are good at all. And that's
when I'm talking mechanics, I'm talking about for RPG mechanics. I'm talking about leveling up. Using all that skill points. That the loop, stuff. Yeah,
is great. But like, and Fallout 3 and New Vegas I adore those games. But man, they're like not good. Like if you just played them in a vacuum, if you're just like if you made Fallout 3, if you removed all of the elements, all of the story, and made a corridor in front of them, like Killzone, for instance, and you're like, play.
No.
It would be awful. It'd be fucking awful. So that's why I'm excited about Fallout 4, because I want to see how it feels.
Right, and they talk about bringing it in and all this stuff. Like, ooh, okay.
Like, can you imagine? That's why Far Cry is so great.
Don't get me excited. Right now, I want to just keep thinking it's just a fancier version of Fallout 3. So when I get it and it's not, I can be fucking amazed.
That's why I'm telling you, man. That's why Far Cry is so great. And that's why I think Dying Light's great too, is because it's like, wow, it's this open world. We have expectations that everything suffers in an open world, right? Like, just design wise, everything suffers. Like the gameplay is almost the last thing that matters in these games. Look at Assassin's Creed, and Far Cry, especially Far Cry, I think 3 and Far Cry 4 came out, and we're just like, well, this is a shooter that is better than 90% of the shooters on the market, and this is an open world game that's better than 90% of the open world games on the market, and it was a perfect fusion. So much like maybe even Crysis 1 was another example of that, like a competent shooter in an open world. I really like the original Crysis for that same reason. So, I don't know. We can go on. I love talking about gameplay, man.
Yeah.
Like I love talking about mechanics and oof. Go play Resogun.
Jason A asks, hey guys, do you think there'll ever be a successful PC console in the vein of the Steam box? On the surface, it seems like a great idea, the 30-year library and the power of PC mixed with the affordability and big screen of a console, but in practice, it just hasn't worked out yet. Thanks, guys. Your content is 100% brick.
No, there won't be. And for my money, I think Steambox was the chance.
Mhm.
It was the chance for Valve to say, hey, everybody, we have something that's amazing here. PC gaming is amazing. Steam is amazing. Everything's cheaper. Everything's cooler here. Here is the Steambox. You can get this. You can play 90% of the games. And if you get to something else, we will sell cards that it will tell you what you need and where to get it and how to get it. This is the answer. And instead they said, here's a controller. Everyone make a Steam box.
And here's computers in a different format.
And it was a million Steam boxes, and it's the same cumbersome, confusing experience that I don't want to invest time in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Someone needs to get it together, and they were the ones. They're the biggest. They're the ones everybody believes in. They could easily come on. I know it's that they don't want it. They don't want to get in the console. There's no reason for them to get into the manufacturing of hardware. They can just sit there and keep making Steam and make money hand over fist and never have to make Half-Life Episode 3. But if they would have done it, they were the people to do it and show it and make everyone believe in it, and they didn't. They left it open, and that's why nobody has a Steam box. Nobody cares.
Is it going to happen now or in the near future? No. Is it going to happen at some point? It's a foregone conclusion. It's going to happen. In my opinion. So I disagree with Greg in certainly saying like no at all. I think it's inevitable. It's inevitable. It's totally. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hit you. I'm mad at you, but I didn't mean to hit you.
It's okay.
I think it's inevitable that they do it, and that's not and they just whoever. I agree that Steam and Valve really blew it with Steambox. I think they absolutely did, but I don't think they look at it like that. I just don't think they care.
Exactly. No. It's
but
them failing us.
Someone is going to come along, and they are going to care, because to the point, like there is a wealth of games spanning since the late 70s, really, that can be played on the same sort of, I don't want to say architecture because that's not necessarily true, but you can play like the way we play a game like Oregon Trail is the way we play a game like Dota 2, right? It's a computer and a monitor and a mouse or a keyboard or something like that. So in other words, this whole legacy, this lineage of PC gaming is certainly going to be unified in some sort of way, in some sort of box at some point in the future. I can't imagine that's not going to happen.
Future I see is that, no one will ever get it together. No one will ever be big enough. And so what'll happen is, when consoles do die out or whatever, and there is no more set-top boxes and whatever, however the fuck it all comes down is, it'll be that you have to suck it up and get a PC and figure it out. Or whatever the new machine is or TV is or dongle you plug in the, you know what I mean? Like, we always talk about one day there not being a console future or whatever. I don't think it'll be, though, that we're going to one purpose, one group that has it figured out in this one box.
And I will say to the no console future again, like
not anytime soon.
Nope. I don't even know. I don't even know anymore if this is necessarily going to be the last generation of consoles.
No way. Not a chance in hell. This is the last generation of consoles. We were all so wrong about that 2-3 years ago, 4 years ago now.
Final question of the day. Amaze Hobbs says, in the past, you guys have talked about YouTube trying to take down Twitch using its new YouTube gaming service. With the introduction of YouTube Red, which will require content creators to pay a fee of $9.99 to keep their videos public, how do you guys think this will affect smaller channels that provide video game related content? There's a lot of things that are wrong with what you just said.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
So
we don't pay anything.
But I think this is like an important question to talk about, because there's a lot of people not understanding what this service is and the difference between YouTube Gaming and YouTube Red and YouTube.
Yeah.
YouTube Gaming is just a different way to look at YouTube. And everything we talked about pre it coming out about it versus Twitch, they're not competitors in that way. It's just YouTube is a competitor to Twitch. YouTube Gaming is just a different lens to put over YouTube
exactly.
to look at channels in a more video game focused way. Like if you go to gaming.kindafunny.com, it'll work. Same thing for gaming.kindafunnygames. Same thing for gaming.epicmealtime.com. Like doesn't matter what the YouTube channel is.
It just skins it.
It just makes it look video gamey.
Yeah.
And has different like chat windows and stuff and makes it seem more like people how they consume video game content. So I think people get really confused about that. In addition to that, one day they will have features Twitch has, like paying for subscriptions and paying for emotes or being able to use all that stuff. Cool. Until that day comes, it's not even worth talking about because we don't know what they're going to do. This YouTube Red thing, there's so much people that are confused about, so you're going to need to pay to be able to have to make money off your videos? No. Just if you don't, the only way your videos are private is if you don't accept the new terms of service. And that's just because YouTube's like, this is what we're doing. Deal with it or get the fuck off.
Yeah.
And we'll see how this all shakes out. Like, I don't want to put my foot down and say I believe this is going to be good for people, but right now I think that it is. I think that overall this is going to benefit content creators, and I think content creators are getting a little upset about it right now. But we're now getting paid off watch time instead of views, which should benefit the smaller channels even more. Because if you have a smaller audience that's really dedicated and watches your entire video.
You put up a 30-minute thing about how to get this trophy in this game and only 300 people watch it. Well, those 300 views would have been nothing before, but the fact that we're all coming and staying until the 30-minute mark when we get the trophy.
Yeah. And we don't know what that payment plan looks like, and we don't know whatever.
It's $1 million a minute.
But that's the thing is I don't want to say that it's better because I don't know, but I do think that there's potential for it to be better for smaller channels, specifically for channels like us who don't have 1 million subscribers, but have, a lot of really hardcore motherfuckers that watch these podcasts that we do. Like, that's going to be great for us.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah.
And again, that's only the people that are paying for YouTube Red. We'll see how much this even gets adopted.
Yeah.
If only 100 people do this, that means it only affects 100 people. The rest of people are getting ads like they always have.
Yep.
So we'll see how that all goes. You guys have any thoughts on that?
You nailed it.
Cool. That topic brought to you by Loot Crate. Would you classify yourself as a geek, gamer, or pop culture nerd? Then Loot Crate is the subscription box for you. Loot Crate's a subscription box service with $40 worth of geek, gamer, pop culture gear, collectibles, apparel, comics, etc. delivered to your mailbox every month. Make sure to head to lootcrate.com/KFgames and enter code KFgames to save $3 on any new subscription. Every month there's a different theme. They're all a whole bunch of stuff that you love. This month they're bringing you a fight for the ages. Suit up, choose your allies, and enter the arena for combat. They're ready to stand their ground this month with exclusive items from Blizzard, Fallout 4, Capcom, sponsor-worthy loot from the Hunger Games, as well as a few more items that will help their winners emerge victorious. Whether you're risking your life in battle or taking no prisoners in the wasteland, our loot will be at your side to keep things interesting. Basically, Loot Crate's like a friend that knows exactly what you want, gives you presents every month, and it's a beautiful thing. Did we mention this shipped to over 13 different countries? We didn't, but now we did. You have until the 19th at 9 p.m. Pacific to subscribe and receive that month's crate, and when that cutoff happens, that's it. It's over, Jack.
Yeah.
So go to lootcrate.com/KFgames and enter code KFgames to save $3 on your new subscription today. Thank you guys for joining me for this ridiculous trip of a Gamescast that was way more complicated than I think any people will ever know based on production.
It wasn't that bad. And I want to thank you both for spending your weekend with me this weekend doing Extra Life. Kindafunny.com/extra life. We're playing video games for 24 hours. Saturday, November 7th. So no matter when you're hearing this, it's soon. Come watch, donate, help a good cause.
We got some good shit planned. It's going to be fun. Definitely do that. Thank you so much for everything. Leave some comments below letting us know what you think about all this stuff. Until next time, I love you.